In this video, we will learn how to install VirtualBox and install the Mininet virtual image that will allow you to complete some of the assignments in this course. The first step is to go to virtualbox.org and click on Downloads, which will bring you to this page where you can download the appropriate VirtualBox image for your operating system and architecture. Once you've downloaded the appropriate VirtualBox software for your machine, you can then go to the OpenFlow tutorial page, which is linked from the course site, and download the appropriate virtual machine image to run Mininet 2.0. So that's here under the section of the OpenFlow tutorial called Install Required Software, and you can just click on this particular virtual machine image to begin downloading the virtual machine image, which we will then install in VirtualBox. At this point, you are ready to install the appliance in VirtualBox, and for that, you go to the File menu in VirtualBox and you select Import Appliance, which will bring up a menu that looks like this, and then you can click on Open Appliance, and that will bring you to the Explorer where you can find the Mininet image which you just downloaded. Once you've imported the appliance, it should show up in your list of virtual machine appliances. Here you can see that I have more than one installed, and I've already renamed the OpenFlow tutorial. You can click on Settings here and adjust the settings for your virtual machine. So under General, you can name the virtual machine. You can see I've named mine OpenFlow tutorial. And you can set various other settings. It's very important to enable a host-only adapter in your virtual machine. So to do that, you will basically take the OpenFlow tutorial image and go to the network settings here and click on adapter 2, and you'll enable it, and then attach that interface to a host-only adapter, and you can name it various things, but VBoxNet 0 works just fine. What that will allow you to do is essentially SSH or log in to your virtual machine from your local machine, your laptop or desktop. Now once you've done this, you can start your virtual machine, and I've got a couple here that are powered off. You should see an icon like this that says Start. Mine, since it's already running, it just says Show. So I can click on Show, and that basically should bring you to a login screen that looks like this. You may see the virtual machine boot up. Now to log into the OpenFlow tutorial virtual machine, which is already hosting Mininet, you can log in with the username Mininet, and the password is Mininet. Okay, now so I mentioned that you wanted to add that second interface, which gives you the host-only adapter, and now to enable that particular interface, you'll want to give that particular interface, which in this case is ETH1, an IP address. So to do that, you simply type sudo dhclient ETH1, which basically just tells the virtual machine to run DHCP for the ETH1 interface. At this point now, if you type ifconfig ETH1, you should see an interface, which is the host-only internet adapter, and it tells you the IP address of that particular interface. So now, if we open up a terminal and try to log in, we can basically just do that by saying SSH mininet at 192.168.56.101. In fact, you probably want to do it with X Windows forwarding enabled with the -X option. And now we log in with the password Mininet. And that brings us to the same Mininet VM that you see here. Now at this point we are ready to fire up Mininet for the first time. And to do that, we should essentially type in a command like this. So let me just explain what we see here. This is in the OpenFlow tutorial as well, but just to explain it, sudo basically gives you root privileges. mn is the Mininet wrapper script, And then we're telling Mininet to start a 3-host single Open vSwitch based topology. And we're setting the MAC address of each host equal to its IP address. And then we're asking for the switches to be Open vSwitch. And we're going to use a remote controller which defaults to localhost. Okay, so now you can see that we've started Mininet. Mininet created a network. It added a controller, and then it added 3 hosts and a switch. Now you can see it also added the links between those switches and configured each one of those hosts. So now you're at the Mininet console. You can see that because the console prompt starts with Mininet. And we can see the available nodes in the network by typing nodes. So you can see that you've got 3 hosts, a switch, and a controller. If you want to run a single command on a single node in the Mininet topology, you simply prepend the command with the host on which you want to run that command. So for example, if I want to look at ifconfig on host 1, I simply type h1 ifconfig, and that will give me the output of ifconfig from host 1. I can similarly do the same thing for host 2. And you can see that the IP addresses for each of these nodes are different. So host 1 had 10.0.0.1 and host 2 had .2. If you have properly logged in with X forwarding enabled like I did, you should be able to also open up additional Xterm windows for each of the hosts. So here now you can see that I have Xterms, and one is on node H1 and the other is on node H2. So now I have direct console access in each of these Xterms to the respective nodes. This one in H1 and this one in H2. Okay, you are now ready to get going with the rest of the Mininet tutorial, and hopefully now that you have Mininet set up, you can play around with some various things yourself by following along in the tutorial. We will have some subsequent videos in lessons that will help you complete some of the assignments in the Mininet virtual environment as we proceed through the course.